right, good day, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Loyal Sons podcast. It's your boy George Brisbane, representing the home city, holy city, Charleston, South Carolina. You already know what it is. I'm in here with my boys, Aaron Duncan, Denzel Johnson, Stephen Patrick. Steve got everybody. So Steve, that's why he's grinning today. He got a haircut, so he's feeling a little good.
Yeah. I'm feeling myself this week. I look pretty good on camera this week. The past couple episodes.
Well, I ain't gonna get no haircut, but I'm getting this beard shaped up. My haircut days are over.
I'm definitely getting one this weekend because the side fro is not popping with the dreads.
Right.
Let my junk just let it wolf out.
Hey, you gotta let it wolf out, man. That's the only way it's gonna grow.
Man, I'm pushing 3 months. And I got nothing.
You gotta cut yours.
Yeah,
I had to cut mine off too. So I'm with you, Denzel. I don't think mine's ever gonna connect. So
that's crazy.
Fellas, let's go ahead and jump right into it, man. Last Dance wrapped up this past Sunday, and we got a little extra news that the Bulls might have had the opportunity to go for 7. Do we think they would have gotten 7?
Man, I think it would have been real tough, man, just with everything going on, money situation. I mean, these guys are professionals and they probably would have wanted to chase that ring, but they got families too and stuff to think about. So I think it would have been hard to keep everybody there as far as all the key role players. It's just a lot that goes into winning a championship. And then I just think it was so many moving parts. To say that they would have won another one, I guess we would have liked to see that, but I think that's kind of really hard to say just with everything. The coaching situation, GM, money, players' egos and all that. I don't know if they would have been able to bring everybody back again for, another one last, ride or last dance per se. I just think it would have been hard. So I can't say that they would have. I think, in hindsight, we look back and say they probably could have, but realistically, I don't know if they would have won another one.
That's definitely, I agree with Steve. Everything that's put together to go on a championship and for them to go on 3 consecutive three-peats, that takes a lot out of your team anyway. So just looking at the pieces they would have had, Pippen and Kerr were still under contract. They got traded after everything was all said and done. Jordan indicated that he was willing to go ahead and sign another year if Phil Jackson was willing to sign. But I believe all the bad publicity and everything going on with the team all year left a sour taste in everybody's mouth, and it would have been a difficult year. The only thing that's a plus for them, where I feel like they possibly could have contended for another championship, was that it was a shorter year. So you didn't have too many games to play. The wear and tear on the older team, Jordan was 35, turning 36 that year. So wouldn't have been too much wear and tear on him. They would have had to overcome the Pacers and the Heat. And surprise of the season, of course, was the New York Knicks going to the finals that season. But you already know it. I feel they definitely would have had an opportunity, but I'm not going to say it was a lock for them to win.
The fact that, granted, I can't really remember if they even knew if the season was going to be shortened, but the fact that we do know that there was only a 50-game regular season does lead me to believe that I think they probably could have pulled it off. That's 32 less regular season games that you have to worry about, and I think that team with Michael Jordan, what we learned from the documentary of his, his mentality, his willingness to push his teammates and everybody, I think he could have potentially willed them to another championship because, they could have beat the Knicks. Come on, it's the Knicks. And then we don't know.
The Knicks were the number 8 seed team, and they beat the number 1. And they beat Reggie Miller and the Pacers. Might I add, they were injury prone. Latrell Sprewell didn't play. Patrick Ewing didn't play. So they pretty much did it.
Larry Johnson was hurt too.
Yeah, Reggie Miller was hurt too. And the thing about it, Steve Kerr was on that San Antonio team that ended up winning the whole thing that year. So if Steve Kerr was still on the Bulls, not to say that he was a key factor, but you can't say. I mean, because like I think what we've seen, role players play a very big role. So somebody else could have stepped up on that Spurs team. But who's to say the Spurs even make it to the finals that year?
Mhm.
I mean, for all we know, the Lakers could have made it, and could have been.
Lakers could have made it. Houston could have made it.
Yeah.
There were quite a few teams in that West. Utah was still there.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm not gonna say that it's 50-50. With it, I'm leaning more to say that I feel that they could have, only on the fact of the regular season was only 50 games. That's my only thing. If they had to play a full 82 game schedule, I mean, I think Mike's the GOAT. I don't think they pull that one off.
I think it would have been tough. It's a lot of factors that would have went in. I think Scotty was ready to go. So it would have been really tough to get him to come back and sign another contract with a team that's pretty much not been caring about him at all the whole time he's been there. So that would have been tough. And then, and I'm not being a troll when I say this, I think the Bulls championship runs have lined up perfectly because they missed other teams' rise to the top. And by that, I mean the Spurs were pretty much on their way up to the top. They won the championship the next year. I know it was a shorter year, but they still had Tim Duncan. They had David Robinson. They had Sean Elliott. I think they had Mario Ellie. Avery Johnson was the point guard. I mean, that was a good team. So to say the Bulls would have came in after going through a whole three-peat to come in and win a fourth in a row, I think that would have been tough. So I can't say they would have won it. They definitely would have had a shot. But to get through that Pacers team again would have been tough as well. They definitely would have had a shot. They would have been the favorite, but it would have been tough.
I'm gonna say something that's probably gonna stir controversy, and we can talk about this another day. I don't believe the Spurs were a dynasty, ever. I just think they had a great coach and a great player that was together for a long time and won a few championships and ended up being five. They never won back-to-back.
What constitutes a dynasty? How many championships?
You have to at least win a back-to-back.
Back-to-back.
I think you at least have to win a back-to-back. I mean, the Spurs did Tim Duncan and Greg Popovich win 5 NBA championships? Yes, they did. Not taking,
but none back-to-back.
Never back-to-back. You have to win a back-to-back, in my opinion, to be considered a dynasty.
I can agree with that. The
Spurs never did that. They won in 98, then the Lakers won from 2000 to 2003. Then the Spurs won in 2004. The Lakers went back. The following year, lost to the Detroit Pistons. And then the Pistons lost to – who did it?
Those Pistons lost to the Spurs.
They lost to the Spurs.
Yeah.
They lost to the Spurs. So, I mean, they've won like 2 out of 3 and stuff like that, but they've never won. And the only time they went back-to-back years –
The Heat.
Was when they did the Heat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, in my opinion, like, were they consistent? I mean, they're the masters of consistency. I'll give them that. But in the NBA is not football. Football is hard to do back-to-back, which makes what the Patriots did even better because they've won back-to-backs and they've won 6 championships. They're a true dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't give the Spurs the fact. I mean, we can, like I said, we can draw that up and make that a topic the other day. I don't have too much time for to have talking.
We definitely add that to the list.
Yeah, we definitely have to. Because I definitely disagree.
Yeah, I'm kind of disagreeing with that too. I don't want to get too much into it because it's not really a topic. But I don't know about that.
We'll say that for another day.
We'll say that one, but George, I'm on your side. But we'll say that one. And another thing that's been coming up is could Pippen and Mike win separately?
No.
What do you guys think?
No. They both had the opportunities and didn't make it happen.
You're right. And I definitely feel
what's crazy to me is somebody was really going hard arguing with me saying that Pippen couldn't win without Jordan, but Jordan was winning without Pippen. I was like, how you give credit for Jordan and you take away from Pippen, and they literally never won without each other.
Right.
You won and take away from that. They never won. Pippen did go to the Western Conference Finals without Jordan. I will give him that. And Jordan didn't.
He lost in the second round.
No.
Yeah, but you did with Portland.
Yeah. When Kobe threw the alley.
That Portland team was kind of stacked though.
That was a great team.
He did have a great
team.
Role.
He wasn't the primary factor on that team. Though.
No, he was not.
He was a starter.
He was a starter. And he was a key player.
But he was a veteran. He was a veteran on that team by then.
We had Damon Stoudemire. You had Rasheed Wallace. You had Mark Wells. We had
Big Game Sheed. You can call him Big Game Sheed. He's a Tar Heel. You can call him Big Game Sheed.
He missed some damn free throws though.
He did. But I mean, and I'll let y'all go. It was never determined if they could win without each other. They could make a playoff run, but I don't feel like it was determined if they could win the whole thing without each other.
I agree, and I say this with the years that Jordan wasn't there. The first time he retired, Pippen averaged the most points he's had in his career at 22. That year where they went to the second round and lost to the Knicks. The following year, he averaged about 21 around the time Jordan came back. So, like you said, it's proven that they couldn't do it without one another. But I feel it's a better opportunity for Jordan to do it without Pippen. Because, believe it or not, I feel Pippen is very expendable. You could put anybody in that slot that doesn't mind being the Robin of the team. Could just play defense, give you rebounds. And Jordan, I feel as if they would have made it to the finals and won some championships anyway.
They can't just play defense. They got to be the defender. Jordan never had to guard the best player on the other team, which means he saved all his energy for the offensive end because Pippen was like, hey, I got him. Don't worry about that. Not saying Jordan couldn't do it. He didn't have to.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of agree with you as far as Jordan might have had the better opportunity to do it without Pippen. Mm-hmm. I definitely think Pippen was more of a role player than a leader, but he could lead at times. I just don't think he could do it consistently throughout a whole season and in those tough moments. And as we see in the documentary, he kind of flaked out on some key moments on there. But I definitely got to disagree with you, Denzel, saying that anybody could fill in that slot that Scottie played. I mean, he just did so much defense. He did rebound a little bit. He did handle the ball a little bit because sometimes he would actually bring the ball up, and Jordan, would be already going up the court. So I mean, I especially back then, a lot of players didn't have that skill set to do all of that he did on that team. So I think that definitely would have been. He kind of was like a Swiss Army knife for them, just to do a little bit of everything, honestly.
Whatever they needed on any given night.
Yeah, he could do it. So I definitely don't think that anybody could have just filled that in. But yeah, I will agree with you in saying that Jordan probably had a better chance to win without Scottie. But I still don't really think that they could have won separately. I don't think so.
Depends on. I say no, but like I said, it just depends on with. If Mike went and teamed up with, somebody of a Scottie-esque talent and stuff, something like that, I think everybody in here can agree, no matter who the player is, it takes another great player to push you over the edge to get you to that championship. We can all agree to that, right?
Yes, most definitely.
Like nobody's won it without like another de facto superstar. Except
somebody.
Like, if you want to consider Pau Gasol a superstar, I'll let you do that.
Come on.
Oh, yeah. He was most definitely a superstar at the time.
I was waiting on it.
Yeah.
I was waiting on
it.
Come on.
So we agree. We finally got you to admit that. Yes, he definitely was a superstar at the time.
Yes, at the time, he was a superstar.
I was like the top power forward in the league at that time.
He was.
Not the top.
Kobe
Bryant, he was very good at what he did.
Kobe Bryant made
top five at his position. He was.
Kobe Bryant made.
It was probably top three. Top three during that time.
Kyle did not get top three in the position until he became a Los Angeles Laker.
I can agree with that.
He was an all-star in Memphis.
No, he was not.
He was.
No, he was
putting up all-star numbers.
He just didn't.
He had no choice.
He had no exposure, man. And then you got to think Memphis is a small market, so of course when he come to LA, he's gonna look better. Right. He just get more exposure. He was doing the same thing basically.
That's like Kevin Hart when he came. Not Kevin Hart. Kevin Love when he came to Cleveland.
Right.
18 double gold.
The man was putting up numbers. He was the Timberwolves.
He really was.
Can somebody tell me why Memphis is still in the Western Conference? That should have been rectified a long time ago.
I have no clue.
That should have been rectified a long time ago. If y'all don't put the Pacers or somebody in the middle in the West and let the Grizzlies get the Eastern Conference, they all the way over here.
I'm telling you, they're Eastern Coast. I mean,
yeah, that's crazy.
Because Chicago, Indiana don't want to go.
I know they don't want to
go to the Western Conference.
Nah.
They don't want them problems.
Well, Memphis had to endure all that pain all these years. It's unfortunate.
Isn't New Orleans in the Western Conference too?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
At least
that's kind of that's
you have to remember. You have to remember where Memphis came from.
I mean, yeah, but that was so long ago.
They could have shuffled the deck.
Yeah, I was like, hey man, we can't be flying all the way over there playing that late at night. Right, come all the way back over here.
Nah, they definitely rectified that.
How did Vancouver get a team anyway? I'm curious.
Man, they had some support when they first came out, and they had probably the best jerseys in the league.
That's when the NBA was trying to globalize. They was trying to
NBA was trying to globalize. They capitalized at the right time.
Yeah, you're right. The Canadian teams had the best jerseys.
I mean, but you see how big it is. Basketball is in Canada now, so I mean,
yeah, they got a lot of top talent.
Yeah.
Besides that Duke boy Barrett, everybody else is okay.
Yeah, right.
I
can't even disagree with you right there. I'm so disappointed in what I saw from him this year.
I think it's gonna take not a long time, but it's gonna take some time for him to develop because he is a streaky shooter. He's a slasher, but I think he's gonna be good. It's just gonna take some time.
Yeah, he's not gonna be a game changer like
He's a Knick. If he was a Brooklyn Net, I think he'd be doing a lot better.
What I was just about to say is by the time he gets good, he will no longer be a Knick.
That makes him look even worse because the Knicks have nobody. Anybody could have been a superstar on that team, and Barrett was probably one of the worst players I've seen this year.
That's not true.
That's not true.
He's not that bad.
That man scored 5 points several games.
What's that?
Who is setting him up to score?
That dude from France. What's his name?
Frank nothing.
Frank something.
Frank something.
Why is he still in the league? No clue.
Phil Jackson. Didn't Phil draft him?
Phil's a great coach.
Let's move on to the next subject.
Phil is not a good.
I don't want to hear nothing about Phil Jackson with the New York Knicks. That was the worst time of my New York Knicks fan life. I don't want to relive that ever again.
Phil ruined Melo's career in New York, man. Melo was doing fine just coasting in New York, putting up numbers and losing. Here come Phil.
Phil wanted to win, man.
This is definitely a topic for another time. We fell from being a number 2 seed to being irrelevant all over again. If I could take it back to that 2013 year and
who beat y'all when y'all was a number 2 seed?
It was one of the most lit times I've ever had as a Knicks fan.
Hey, who beat y'all when y'all was a number 2 seed?
The Indiana Pacers.
It was the Pacers?
It was the Pacers.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Who beat y'all that time? Was it Stoudemire messed up his hand in the locker room?
That was 2012. That was y'all. It's all good.
That's the one I was talking about. I don't care about that.
2013, we lost to the Pacers, and y'all played the Pacers, and that was when Lance Stephen was blowing kisses in LeBron's ear.
Hey, Pacers was tough, bro.
He's from Brooklyn, might I add. He's not from the Bronx. That's something.
Hey, y'all, he from New York.
He's not from my borough. I can't claim that behavior.
Lakers dynasty was over then. I wasn't watching basketball.
Let's talk about Horace Grant versus Mike, man. Horace say Mike full of shit and he telling lies.
Man,
who do y'all think is telling the truth? Let's start there.
One of the other teammates on the Bulls during the documentary did say that Horace was like how Horace felt. Like Horace always felt some type of way that he felt he should have more recognition. And a couple of guys said that. No, so
Horace was good.
Horace was good, yeah. So that makes
he won with y'all too.
He was on. Yeah, he backed up Shaq.
Okay. He got another ring. You know, he went to the championship with Orlando as well.
Yeah.
He backed up Shaq, but I think it probably was Horace. The fact that the other play, I always listen to say, okay, I'm gonna take you two out. What's everybody else saying? and I'm listening to what the other members on the team were saying, how Horace felt, and then just remembering like when Orlando beat the Bulls, how they carried Horace like off the court and stuff like that. So that lets me know in the locker room, you know,
He said, "Hey, I need this."
so some stuff was being said
Mm-hmm.
to you know, for them to be like, okay, we want to win this one for Horace and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I think I gotta lean more towards Horace. But then you never know. Mike is known to make shit up to motivate himself to do some stuff. So it's like
He just looking at Horace one night like something ain't right with you, and I'm mad.
But not.
Like, I don't like them goggles on your face.
Yeah, somebody them goggles.
But not letting Horace eat on the plane, that's some cold shit.
Facts. But
Bruh,
as accurate
Horace
as that
Grant
was, you know, someone said something. Someone had to
Yeah.
say something, you know. And on one hand, I feel Horace in reference to if somebody says I did or said something, oh yeah, I want all the smoke too. You know, I might bring it to the media, but I'm definitely, when I see you, we gonna have some problems. We gonna have some words, and we gonna handle that like men. But where I disagree with him is when he indicated that Jordan was a snitch about basically stating what was going on in the NBA in the 80s. You know, everybody had a little booger sugar. It was what it was. They loved it. You know,
he was definitely a snitch.
but he didn't reveal any names.
He did not call any names. No names.
Okay, he's a professional snitch.
No names. He
Elaborate on that, Aaron.
He didn't say any name. He said everybody but me.
He said
Y'all look up
some
the
of
roster.
the
Y'all look up the
older
roster.
players.
Just ignore my name. I wasn't doing it.
He said some of the older players.
Hey, man, because a lot of them probably playing in the 70s, and you know what it was, man.
Oh
Unfortunately,
yeah.
it wasn't a big deal for these players to do these kind of things until deaths started happening in the NBA.
70s. Talk about the Cowboys were doing this in the 90s.
Whoa. Hey. It don't mean a thing unless you got that ring. Michael Irvin earned the right to do that.
He
But man,
did.
I can't say Horace snitch, but look, Horace, you sick. Nobody else on that plane should be telling you can't eat. You got to go handle that immediately. But I feel like it's some animosity there. I feel like Jordan probably don't like Horace because Horace left the Bulls and went to Orlando, and then they beat him that first year. I know they were talking all kind of stuff. So I think it's just some animosity still there from them being past teammates. Horace not liking the way that Michael led the Bulls, and so this was pretty much Mike's viewpoint on everything. So pretty much everything in there was the way Mike wanted it to be, even I think up to the interviews. So I know they allowed Horace to speak on certain things, but if he would have told them how he really felt about Mike, it wouldn't have been aired in that documentary. So I think throughout the next few weeks or days, we're gonna get Horace's viewpoint on it. We already got a little leaks of it. I can't say he was a snitch. I mean, but it does look bad that he was pretty cool with the writer of the book. So
Yeah, man. I gotta say, man, I think he might have been the snitch, man. Just because it's too much stuff. It's too much stuff adding up against him. Like he's still like really in his feelings about like this whole situation. He's saying like this. He was like the interview he did. He called it like a so-called documentary because he kept saying this, you know, only from Jordan's perspective. I mean, yeah, he got a valid point there, but I mean, you know, I heard, you know, somebody else say like without Jordan, I mean, what is this documentary really about? I mean,
Horace Grant, you're gonna hold down 10 episodes about you.
Exactly. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
Steve Kerr had an episode. Scottie Pippen had an episode. Rodman had an episode.
Yeah, that goes to just show the point.
Some shine.
They tried to get everybody in there as much as they could. You know, I felt they tried to weave stories in there as much as they could to kind of make it a cohesive documentary. Of course, it's going to be mostly about Jordan. So I feel he was kind of salty about that. And then the whole thing about them on the plane with him telling the stewardess not to give him nothing to eat. And then Horace was saying, like, you know, he could basically fight Jordan. And it seemed like he still kind of had those feelings going on to this day. Like, you know, so it's like, for me, it's feeling like nobody else owning up to saying that. He really looking like the only guilty guy that's kind of holding some grudges, you know, because only other person I might say could have did something like that was Scott Burrell, but he just seemed like, in the documentary, he seemed like he was cool with everything. So
He's just happy to be there.
yeah, I think it got to be Horace looking like the number one suspect, because the information that they had was really, really like too close. Somebody on the inside gave him the information, so
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's him, man. You know, just coming out everything that he's saying, it just ain't looking good. That's just my take.
Scott Burrell, like I said, when they interviewed him, he was just seeming like, hey, I got a ring. I don't give a damn. Mike can call me a ho as much as he want.
you say world champion ho when you mix it.
he got Scott Burrell, Scott Burrell,
right?
Engraved in the middle of his ring.
That's the most relevant he'll ever be, because we've never heard of Scott Burrell before this, and if it wasn't for his documentary, we didn't even know who he was.
He's a head coach at Southern Connecticut State. I'm pretty sure his players were just like, I played with the Bulls in '98. Probably looked at him like,
Yeah, but hold on, you did?
You
on that team?
You're like, oh, so you was the hoe.
They know about it now.
you
I
know,
guarantee somebody says that in practice, they're gonna be doing extra laps.
the whole team was texting each other, boy. MJ called coach a hoe out here in these streets.
Yeah. I think Horace is also upset, man. Mike is getting a lot of the credit. Horace was probably taking the most beatings out of all the Bulls, because he was down there with Lambeer and everybody, all the big boys. So he like, man, I was taking them beatings too. And everybody keep talking about the Jordan rules. I was the one getting knocked down too.
Yeah, and then some people was even saying that you know, like the first Bulls three-peat was probably a better team than the second, you know, just as far as talent-wise. So he definitely probably feel a little salty. Like, like you said, you know, he was down there in Detroit getting beat up too. So like he didn't really get no kind of love, you know.
None.
So I'm thinking, you know, he just feeling a little salty about it. You know, they should just go ahead and talk it out like men and move on, though. It's too long for that to be
Exactly.
holding grudges.
You can tell he definitely holds grudges, though.
Horace better go to Orlando and hope they build him a statue next to Shaq's.
It ain't gonna happen. I don't think Horace getting a statue. He can get a bobblehead night like Pat Ewing. That's about it. If you come to Horace Grant bobblehead night, wear your goggles, half off popcorn. Man, let's get into it was a proposed rule change in the NFL. Fortunately, it got turned down, but it was going to give teams draft incentives for minority hirings. We already have the Rooney Rule, which, even though it doesn't work the way it's supposed to, that's when you have to at least interview a minority person for a head coaching job. So how do y'all feel about the NFL even proposing giving draft incentives for minority hiring?
I mean, I personally feel like it's a bunch of BS, really. I mean, because it just goes to kind of show like how far these sports leagues are really behind as far as like social, you know, inequalities and stuff like that. It's why do you have to offer incentives to, you know, have a black head coach? I mean, what kind of sense does that make? I mean, why can't you just be competitive hiring a black coach and just try to win that way versus offering, oh, you could get, you know, better draft picks if you pick somebody, you know, or you know, that's a black hire coach. It's just stupid, really. I mean, I don't even know why they would even bring something like that to the table. I'm surprised that it actually got that far, to be honest with you. It's just kind of just puts a bad taste in your mouth, really. Just kind of goes to that slave mentality of the NFL. Like, you know, you got the owners that, you know, own everything, and, you know, okay, here, you know, we go ahead and give you some kind of incentive if you make it look good and hire somebody black, you know. So I think it was kind of whack, really, you know. So I ain't like the move. I'm glad it got shot down, but it just goes to show that, you know, it's still kind of their league,
And what's understood is that they don't understand. They to this point, to this day, they still don't understand the importance of having minority coaches. Being that majority of the league is the players anywhere African American, really can't relate to the coaches that are there now, and the fact that they don't have the right, and it's a proven fact that they don't have the right people on these boards and making these decisions, because for them to even bring that to the table was just very disrespectful and a slap to the face of someone that is highly qualified to even get an opportunity. And for the fact, we're going back on what the Rooney Rule is, as it was indicated that it's failing anyway, because if you want to really make a difference in the league, instead of interviewing two African Americans for a head coach, why not just hire the African American coach, and let's get the numbers a little more even. Let's go to 25% African American coaches to 50% African American coaches. That's how you make a change, not giving draft pick incentives for hiring an African American coach. So like Steve said, I was very disgusted, very disappointed, and it just shows what the NFL really thinks about us.
Yeah, this is a really good topic, but we got to take a quick break here. But we're going to get back into this topic. It's really good. Like I said, we got to take a break. I don't want it to cut off on us. When we get back, you'll hear from myself and Aaron on how we feel on this topic. All right.
Right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Loyal Sons podcast. We're going to jump right back into the topic of the new or the expansion of the NFL's Rooney Rule and how we feel about it. Personally, kind of hurts, like, to know in 2020, like, this is still a problem, that you have to provide incentives to hire minority candidates. And it's just sad because you see so many, like, I don't want to expect like a quota. I don't ever want to be hired to meet a quota, but like there's so many qualified candidates that don't even get the opportunity. And that's the thing that just like kind of just hurts. Like, then I'm not bashing your team and stuff like that, but I'm going to use them as an example. Like, they brought they hired this dude who was coaching at Mississippi State, then at Alabama, then was at the Patriots for a couple years as a special teams coordinator, and all of a sudden he's the head coach. And you got
the New York Giants,
New York Football Giants.
Which I'm not surprised at all. We have a track record of moves like this.
Yeah, and I'm like what's going on? Like, it's so many qualified. It's so if I'm to be honest, moves like that is like certain white candidates you kind of got to be pissed off at stuff like that. But it's like it has to change this who you know narrative, and I'm tired of hearing the oh, I want to hire people that looks like me, that's makes me comfortable and stuff like that. You don't act like that when it comes to your players. And
no.
you don't. I don't have that. You don't have that same energy when it comes. You need a shiny new running back, or you need a shiny new wide receiver.
There ain't that many McCaffreys out there.
Like, I'm gonna need you to keep that same energy when it comes to everything. And it's like, just because the person doesn't look like you or act like you or something like that doesn't mean that they're not a good person. And people have to get out of this mindset of just because it's different means it's bad. And like, there's plenty of minority candidates that could be put in positions, and I think that'll do a great job. One brother that like I'm rooting for the Dolphins. They got a black GM and a black head coach. So like, just deep, I'm rooting for them brothers, because I'm rooting for them to be successful, because if they fail, everybody else gonna be like, well, the Dolphins gave two black guys a try, that didn't work out, and they're just going to be like, it just doesn't work. I root for the Steelers. And I don't necessarily care for Steelers fans, but Mike Tomlin, Noop. I gotta, I always want him to do well. Like, always want him to do well. And it's sad that, and it's not, I'm not being racist by saying that I'm rooting for everybody black. I'm rooting for everybody black because if they do well, it's going to give other black men and minority men better opportunities. Like, I got pissed when Buddy in Cleveland fumbled that job and they had to come just
Hugh Jackson.
It wasn't. I'm not going to put that 100% on Hugh.
I'm not going to put 100% on Hugh, but
that team was just terrible.
Hughes had two opportunities. Hughes was head coach of the Raiders and Hughes head coach of.
He been bad both times.
Well, both times. Both don't have the best ownership though. So.
Tracks.
Both terrible ownerships, and I'll give you that. So I'm not going to create a scapegoat. But Hugh dropped the ball. But look, Raheem Morris got 1 year? And that's
Steve Will in Arizona.
Yeah, like my brother, they get 1 year. Like nothing turns around quickly in 1 year. I mean, sometimes they do. Don't get me wrong, but like I feel like our leash is shorter. They will give you an opportunity, but you got a 1 to 2 year window when everybody else will potentially get 3 years to prove their worth and stuff like that.
5 to 10. 5 to 10.
Jason Garrett's don't grow on trees. Not many owners would have stuck with Jason Garrett.
Oh man,
let's just be honest. I mean,
man.
I'm a Redskins fan. I mean, I think we stuck with Jay Gruden too long, and we hired he's not a black candidate, but he's a minority candidate, Ron Rivera.
Yeah, he's minority.
And I'm happy about that hire. And Ron's come in, Ron big changes, and I'm happy to see what happens and what direction the team goes into.
Yeah.
I think it's bad, man, that this was even proposed. I think it's bad that the NFL has to have the Rooney Rule. And my team's not excluded from that. We gave the job to Mike McCarthy, but we interviewed Marvin Lewis. Everybody knows Marvin Lewis was never going to get the head coaching job for the Dallas Cowboys. He was terrible in Cincinnati. And that's not me talking bad about him. He just was there for a very long time, and they didn't produce that much beside a couple playoff wins. He was not going to get the job in Dallas. They just hired him because they had to interview. I mean, they interviewed him because they had to interview a minority candidate. And as soon as they got Mike McCarthy in there, they hired him pretty much the next day. They kept him there overnight. So it wasn't a mystery that he was going to get hired. Now, I'm hoping he does great things, but it just goes to show the Rooney Rule is in place, but it's not effective. And as far as this new stuff, to even say we're going to give a team draft incentives for hiring minority candidates, that's crazy in 2020. It's 2020, and we still have, like, the majority of the league is African-American. There are no African-American owners.
All right.
That in itself says enough. And like you said, I root for the people, in the head coach and the GM in Miami, even Mike Tomlin, and because if they don't do a good job, they're not going to get another opportunity. Like, for instance, in Dallas, we had Chris Richard working with our defense. Now, the year that our defense was great, he was a head coaching candidate, all this. Last year, our defense was bad, and now you don't even hear his name anymore. I'm not sure where he went, but the fact that if you have one bad year, if you're a minority coach at any level, it's pretty much over.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the NFL can do to kind of rectify this, because the fact that this even got out has a lot of people looking at it, in a skeptical way, because it just shows that they're not even close to what they said they were after all this Colin Kaepernick stuff. They're pretty much in the same space.
Right.
And one thing that I'm hoping it takes the direction of the way the quarterback position is going, because I feel for the longest, when it came to every other position, they just, whoever's the best player, skin color didn't matter except for quarterback. I felt like teams found every excuse not to have a black quarterback. In the way brothers like Russell Wilson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Deshaun Watson, Dak Prescott, the
Patrick Mahomes?
Who?
I don't know. I have a little question. I have a little question about his blackness. I'm gonna keep it 100.
Come on,
man. I'm happy. He did his thing. He's a hell of a quarterback, but not to hold past past to the present. He was one of the people that didn't understand the whole Trayvon Martin situation. He said Trayvon should have been out there. So when you bring up situations like that, that makes me question how you were raised. Were you raised as a black child or was you raised as a white child?
Patrick Mahomes?
He was raised as a black child, but he was raised. His dad is a professional baseball player, so his background is a little different.
Okay.
Yeah.
His dad played baseball. Dad's black. I'm gonna say it. Try to not to say this word much on this show. His dad is a nigga at the end of the day. Like when people see him walking on the street, that's what they call him. But his mom is white, and I think he was raised a lot. He loves it. He always see him. He on his Instagram, post pictures of his mom and stuff like that. So like part of that is like I don't think he was socially aware of his surroundings. He didn't.
And we would have to put that on the black man. We would have to put that on his father, because every black father should have that kind of conversation with
his son. But going back to what we was talking about, the fact that these brothers have changed and revolutionized the game of football at the quarterback position and how it's played, these owners are now opening up and like, okay, if we want to keep up, if we want to win, if we want to do things, and they want to run these high-powered offense, Kyler Murray, got drafted just because, of his skill set. I think that's going to open the doors for more, hopefully, them being more comfortable with minority coaches holding that position and stuff like that, and being the faces of franchise. Being a lot of your quarterback to be, black, you should have no issues with your head coach being black, or your general manager, or your vice president of operations and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope that as we move forward as a society, because for a while it was like quarterback one position, they act like black men they come up with every excuse. I never heard where like running and athletic ability was a negative. Like,
exactly.
like he just runs too much. It's like that's a bad thing. Like
he's a dual threat.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. There you go.
Like, they tried to use that, but going back to Kyler Murray, his coach, who got fired at his college job and was an offensive coordinator, gets a head coaching job, but the dude that's coaching Patrick Mahomes, his quarterback coach and his offensive coordinator, he's black. He's still he can't get the phone call. You want to run your excuse of hiring that coach is, we want to run that style offense. There's somebody in the NFL that coaches.
It's already doing it.
It's already doing it, coaching an MVP and the best player at doing it. And he's available, but you didn't call him.
Right.
Don't call him at all.
You went and got somebody that looked like you and that you were comfortable with. And to be honest, I'd have more respect for him if they just said it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we all know that will never be.
That's not gonna happen.
I know it's not gonna happen. I just be like, well, at least he said it,
Right.
We kind of know they're all thinking it. It's just they try to label it as just entertainment. But at the same time, they gotta have the control over it. So I unfortunately, I hate to say it, but I don't know. I think the NFL is just already too far behind. I don't have too much hope that they're gonna make any real significant change. In the next couple years, I don't see it happening. I maybe 5-10 years from now, but they could, make something happen quickly. But I just don't see it being a quick process. They'll come up with some excuse or something to kind of delay it, like they've been doing. So they figured they gave us the Rooney Rule, So what else more do we want? That's how I'm figuring they're looking at.
They
don't want to give up too much control.
The sad part is
they have too much power. They have way too much power. They can't make the kind of stands that the NBA players can, because what's going to happen to them, especially when you're black. Colin Kaepernick, blackball from the league.
You get blackballed, and it's sad because it's not even just basketball. I feel like baseball players have a little bit more flexibility and their freedom to speak on what they want to talk about, because the players, pretty much run. Player association in the MLB, they'll strike in a minute if they don't like something. They'll be like, "Oh, what y'all say? Oh, we ain't playing."
Did you say it again? Oh no, we're not playing. Not playing.
Not playing. But them in basketball, like they just empower their athletes, and like the NFL, it's all about the shield.
Yeah.
You gotta protect.
It's amazing how accurate that show Ballers was on HBO. I don't know if y'all watched that, but it's amazing how accurate that show was. How the NFL is all about the shield, and the owners pretty much have all the control. They have all the power.
They do, and they just want to control that narrative, and it just sucks because I feel that the NFL has provided so much for young brothers and stuff like that, but like the gaps and stuff are still there, and the funny part about it is just like, okay, the owners. So you trying to tell me people that's breaking the rules got to vote on how are we going to fix our problem?
Exactly. How are we gonna get ourselves in trouble?
How we gonna get it? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
like you put yourself in the situation. Like, how are we gonna get ourselves out of trouble? Stop doing what you're doing. Like,
is it
hire the best?
They'll allow us to play the game. They just won't let us be a part of making the rules. To the game.
Right.
As far as football, for sure.
But yeah,
we'll change it till we get a minority on it. Not even just one. One would be a start, but we got to get a few in there so we can at least have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But unfortunately, that opportunity is second to none. A lot of the times they're going to hand over the company to their children, and if their children run it right, they're going to hand it out to, it just sucks when a lot of them already start with a leg up, and we have to pretty much
build it up.
Build up. We're still building up. Hundreds of years after slavery, we're still building up, and that's unfortunate.
And it just shows like the wealth disparity too, because like I remember when the Panthers were on sale, and like Diddy came out and said his piece, and like it came to be.
You wanted the Charlotte Panthers, or was it the North Carolina Panthers?
Yeah.
But like, and then we had like I remember it was like, okay, we looked up what Diddy was worth, what Jay was worth, and it would have took an army of them to even put in a bid. And there was just one dude who was like a minority. The dude that ended up buying it bought it by himself. I'm just like, it was like even amongst like the richest black people in the world, we still
don't have that much.
We still couldn't that much just step up because we just didn't have it. Like I'm pretty sure they talked about it. No, Jay, I'm not gonna say for sure that they did, but it's just like, bro, like.
But yeah, what Diddy's only worth about a bill. How much is Diddy worth?
Diddy worth about a bill. Dude bought the thing for $1.2 billion.
Exactly. So that means he had $0.2 billion just sitting around. It wasn't his worth.
Throw away. Yeah.
He had billions. He had 2.2. What is it? Like it's just blows your mind. Like the
look at what's his name? Steve Ballmer, the Clippers owner, bought the Clippers and then just turned around and bought the Forum in cash.
Right.
So he can build an arena.
Yes. He's gonna tear that down. He
just
bought
to
it in
build
cash.
another.
It's just
you buy something just to tear it down.
Crazy.
It's just mind blowing, and they still have that idea that we need to lift ourselves up from our own bootstraps. But a lot of them start off, with the boot store, the boot corporation.
I think as a culture, man, we're just now, and I was talking about this with my wife. Me and her are at the point now where we can set Maddie up to live comfortably. Like we're going to have to build it up so we can set. We're not the generation to just be set up. So we're having to set up everything so that our offspring can live comfortably, and then hopefully she'll do the same thing for her kids, or either we'll have enough. Hopefully we'll build enough to be able to do that. But we're not as advanced as everybody else because we didn't have, like you said, the leg up.
Mm-hmm.
Never leg up. Like you. I mean, it's simple math, people. Like the civil rights era was in the '60s and stuff like that. And so depending on we're all Southern. Depending on when your town started acting right, My dad was born in 1960. So when he grew up, he was growing up, and my grandparents was going through the bullshit. Like, couldn't do certain things, couldn't go here, couldn't work certain places, was only allowed to do this and stuff like that. So when you think about it, our parents was like the first generation to technically be what they considered free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then now it's our turn to like actually like go in and like, all right, now we're trying to build. It's gonna take a while. It's gonna take
a while, right? This is generational wealth, so it's not gonna happen overnight. Like I understand, you just getting to the point right now where you building for your child to have a future. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it too. I'm just getting to the point where I'm at the point where I'm gonna have to keep working, but hopefully I'm working towards building something for my kids, as far as building them up and making sure they straight and continuing passing that down. So it's crazy, man.
It's crazy. Like we all went to South Carolina State. We love our historically black colleges and universities, support black colleges, but we went there by choice. The people there before us went there because they had no choice.
Right.
That was the only place you were allowed to go to be educated. Like, and we're just now like trying to break off and branch out and like, and I see so much prosperity for us as a people. And it's great. Like, but like I said, like, but to say like, I don't need you to create a rule to incentivize to get draft picks. I just want you, if you call me in for an interview to like do something for your franchise, look me in my eye and give me the same exact fair shot that you can get everybody else. That's what I want. I don't care about the draft picks. And I would say that on an interview. If I'm coming in to be a GM, I don't care about the draft picks. What I care about is me and you sitting there having a man-to-man, human-to-human conversation and giving me a fair shot based off of my credentials, my experience, and the conversation me and you are having right now. If you feel me and you can work together, I feel like I can work with you. And I hopefully that you feel you can say that you could work with me.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right.
That's what we
that's the goal, man. Hopefully it'll get to that point. But right now it seems like they're way away from that.
Yeah, it's a way off. Way off. You don't feel that. It don't feel it won't happen.
Right.
Well,
go ahead and wrap us up.
What other topics we got today? We want to talk about this. It just came up. What's up with this Dak Prescott contract, man? Like, what's?
Hey, I was trying to wrap it up.
You're right, but that
we gonna talk.
You know what? Being
that was
was that really a false? Was that really a false report?
Yes, false report. Yes. The only dispute that the Cowboys and Dak have right now is they want to sign him for 5 years. He wants a 4-year contract because he wants to bet on himself that he can get to the money again. I say sign 5 years, hold out again. After you get through that 4th year, hold out again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he should do the 4.
I think
I think he should go ahead and bet on himself. And then get the money, but don't. I mean, I hope these. They said that the rumors were false, so I ain't even gonna get into all that. But I think he should ask for enough money, but not too much. He definitely deserves to be paid pretty well, but I mean, he can't ask for Super Bowl quarterback money. I'm sorry. If he hadn't, got to that level yet. Now, if he plays through this contract and he wins something, then he can, demand that type of money. But right now, I don't think he can demand the top dollar. If he getting a contract that's gonna make him the highest paid quarterback in the league, he should go ahead and take it.
Oh yeah.
Without question.
I can't tell nobody what to do with their money. Like that's my big thing. I'll never tell somebody what to do or how to get their money. Yeah, I get it. NFL contracts are fickle, and they're not like NBA contracts or MLB contracts. I would want the flexibility. I think if he signs the 4, he'll be 30 at the end of that one, 31 or something like that.
Oh yeah, I think he'll be 30 or 31. Yeah.
On there, so and hopefully get another 4 or 5 years at that to get another big time contract. So I get his rationale. I understand it. I just hope they sign him up with a lot of money to screw the salary cap up. So while my Redskins rebuild, y'all can't sign nobody over the next couple of years, and we can just go out there, give y'all the business because y'all got, over 60% of y'all salary cap tossed up between the quarterback, the wide receiver, and the running back.
Damn.
Yeah. Like we said earlier, I feel bad for the Chiefs and the Ravens because their quarterbacks actually achieve things. Actually have an MVP, actually won a Super Bowl, and don't get me wrong, the Dak has had some great years, man. He's put up the numbers.
He had no thing. Lamar
I'm all about a brother getting paid, but I mean, what has he really done?
Has Saquon Barkley beaten Dak yet? Saquon Barkley's been in the league for a little while now. Has he beaten Dak yet?
Hey, we are in a rebuilding mode. So I'm not claiming that we had our golden years. They were blessings, but
I don't hear about that.
And if it wasn't for Plexico, Cheddar Bob shooting himself in the damn leg, we probably would have won back to back.
Could be true.
I'm not looking at the past. It is what it is. But that's how I feel with that. Dak, he's up and coming. Definitely one of the best quarterbacks in the league. But just that, when it comes to that, there's other players that have done a little more than him. When it's time for them to make that money, boy.
Wentz got paid.
I need you to define best player in the league. Like, give me a ranking.
You're asking me for ranking.
Yeah, for Dak.
Is it quarterback or player?
Quarterback.
I give him top 10.
Number 10.
Number 10.
9. I give him 9.
I give him top 10 as well. I'll give him top 10.
I'll give him top 10.
Yeah,
Hey,
I mean, I'll go with top 10.
0 playoff wins.
All right.
Look at it.
Golf got paid. Golf went to the Super Bowl, but
I was say Golf went to the Super Bowl.
He did. He did go. He did go.
But late in the egg when he got there.
Late in the egg when he got there, but he went.
Damn,
he went. But that's the
opportunity to beat the Patriots, and they couldn't put up no points. That was just terrible to see.
I don't know how the Rams dropped the ball on that Super Bowl like that. That was
if they scored 2 touchdowns, they win. It's a wrap.
Mm-hmm. Right, that was terrible.
Playing too conservative. A lot of those coaches make that same mistake. But when you get the opportunity to play the Patriots, i.e. the Falcons, you get an opportunity like that, you can't drop the ball. You just can't.
They didn't even drop it. They stopped running it. That's all they had to do was run the ball.
Stop throwing it too.
They could have had tackle for loss for the rest of the game and still won, as long as the clock was moving.
It's that conservative stuff. The Patriots, the best teams don't play conservatively. They go after your jugular. So you have to have that same champions have to have that same mentality.
But if you own the Chiefs and you own the Ravens, how often do you text Jerry Jones like, "Don't you fuck this up for us"?
Hey, honestly, Jerry might be trying to. Y'all gonna spend some money. Y'all want to win Super Bowls. Y'all gonna spend this money. As much as I had to pay Dion back then, y'all gonna spend this money. Y'all gonna pay.
If I own the Chiefs, I'd text Jerry Jones every morning. Hey. No, stroke his ego a little bit. Remember who you are. You Jerry fucking Jones.
That's probably all you gotta tell him too. You're right. I am Jerry Jones.
You gotta force him in Dak Prescott. What has he done?
That's all I'm gonna say. He better pay that man.
He better pay. He paid Romo, so he gotta pay him.
Did he?
Right.
Romo got that big bag.
Romo got another bag from CBS. I'm just like, what? This is just give money to Romo? Like, what is going on?
He's not bad. He just tells the play before it happens. But he's not bad. He's better than Booger McFarland.
Yeah.
Anybody's better
That's a shame. We should uplift our brothers, but unfortunately, Booger.
Have you heard Booger do his commentary?
Listen.
It's snowing outside.
I cannot be on national TV where everybody call me Booger. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to call me something else.
Yeah, you got to put your foot down, sir.
His name Anthony.
Yeah, call me Anthony then. Shoot, you
Right.
can't call me.
You can't call me Booger. That's a dub.
Booker puts every black person in a tough situation because, like, we're supposed to uplift each other, but then you hear Booger on TV, you just be like, no.
What are you talking about right now?
All right, what is he talking about?
Now that right there,
Like the game is over, so the team has lost.
that right there was a run play straight up the middle. We saw Booger. Like, we watched. Booger talking about the game like it's a podcast where you on radio and you can't see what's going on.
Exactly.
You want to go?
Quarterback just threw an interception, so it seems the other team has the ball now. What are you talking about?
Tap on the shoulder. You doing this live TV, right? Like they can see.
He's sitting out there in that little chair that they got in front of the stand.
Right. them twisted up hands, man.
Yeah.
It's all messed up.
You throwing them gang passes, man. Yeah.
I hate to get it. We gotta get off.
Let's go ahead and wrap it up. Man.
I got a quote today from the late great Biggie Smalls. Happy birthday to Biggie. The quote is, and I think it fits in like what we've been talking about to wrap up the show. We can't change the world unless we change ourselves. And that goes for, everybody, us as a society. We have to change. We have to be willing to change. We have to be willing to accept change and not be afraid of change. Change makes so many people uncomfortable, and it shouldn't. It's just because it's different doesn't mean it's bad. So in order to change the world, we got to change ourselves. Biggie Smalls. Rest in peace.
You don't know, now you know.
Go James.
We're going to sign off. We want to thank everybody for listening. We are on Spotify. Check us out.
Spotify. Check us out, baby.
Spotify. We'll be on iTunes here very soon. Hopefully you'll hear this episode on iTunes as well. But yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We're trying to move it on. Episode 4. Let's keep this thing rolling, y'all.
Keep the comments, like, subscribe, follow, all that.
All that good stuff.
Yes.
Yes, we're gonna try to be more active. We got the Instagram page. We're gonna try to be a little bit more active on Instagram, but just a lot going on, with everything going on with COVID. But we're gonna definitely be a lot more active on our social media platforms, especially with us being now on Spotify. You can just put us in while you're in the car, hook us up to the Bluetooth, give us a listen, yo.
There we go.
All right.
Y'all be easy.
Y'all be good.
Easy.
Y'all
Later.